podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hello.
What's
up? We are back every Sunday. Loud and clear. Man,
Yeah.
this consistency thing I'm doing is really I really want to stress this for people. Like I know that as human beings we all have difficulty with consistency because at some point we get complacent, right? Like you feel like, all right, like I'm doing good, things are feeling good. And so maybe I don't need to go to the gym today, you know? And then today is like, oh, well, you know what? It's raining tomorrow. So, and then then all you know is that now you're back at not going to the gym and it's been like, months, right? And that happens with everyone because that's just how we function. I get that. But I will say, because I've been functioning that way, like many people for God knows how long, literally up until this past June. And then from June until now, I've been on this consistency thing that I'm doing. It's like I can't stress it enough. I feel so good. I mean, there's many things I'm doing in my life, but like the consistency thing is like, I didn't realize, I actually really didn't. Like I knew that consistency was important, obviously, right? But because, again, I would get complacent, I never like followed something through all the time for this long besides like going to work and like being a mom. And,
I was gonna say you're like
that.
consistent with other things, but the consistency wasn't focusing on yourself.
It wasn't focusing on
and
like
what you need.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I'm like, wow, like consistency really. First of all, if you have issues with self-esteem, get into consistency. I've been talking to my patients about that because I have felt this like very accomplished, level of just like a sense of like achievement in my just own like self, like I'm like, damn, Aaliyah, like you are doing this. And then I'm feeling more motivated too. Like it's like I thought I would lose some of it, but the motivation's just increasing. And now it's become this habit where I'm like, if I don't do it, now I'm really gonna feel like shit. Like thinking about not taking my dog for a walk in the mornings is something that I'm like grossed out even thinking about. I'm like, oh, gross. I have to take him for a walk. Like,
you've been doing that for I took 6 months straight,
in the
like
rain,
6 months
in the freezing cold. I don't care. I'm gonna do it.
I did think that like once it started getting colder out that you were gonna like
I know
give
you
yourself
did.
like
I know you did because you doubt me.
But I do that on purpose because like if you got nobody down you will just be like, well, I guess that's
true. I actually run
you.
On competition, so that's extremely
I don't
true.
actually do it on purpose, but it's just who I am.
Oh my God. So did you realize actually, just to share this, just recently, maybe like a few months ago, I was talking to somebody about, just like trauma and and just where things come from. We were just having a conversation. And in the middle of this conversation, I thought about this like competitive part that I have, right? That I've always had ever since I was young. I'm so fucking competitive. Like it literally like, and I've used it in positive ways throughout my life because I've wanted to prove people wrong. So I've proved people wrong, but then just like kept going with it because then I'm just like, fuck it, now I just love doing this, But I never understood where it really came from because my parents were never like, they were always like, oh my God, like good job, you're doing so well, blah blah blah. Like so, and they weren't like overly and they weren't like under. It was like a really good healthy level of that. So I never understood until I was in this conversation and it dawned on me in the middle of this conversation. I'm like, oh my God, yes, school. So when I was in school, starting in, I think I was in 8th grade, I'll never forget his name. His name was Mr. Curis. Mr. Curis from Pelham Middle School. No, Pelham Memorial High School, for those of you. Oh, Look at this. She's consoling me. Thank you,
Soul
sweetie.
has come down here to
Thank you,
say
sweetie.
hi.
All right. Are you going to go play with Wayla? Okay. Love you.
Love you.
It's like she energetically felt that I needed a hug. But Mr. Curas from Pella Memorial High School in New York, when I was in 8th grade, I never went to school. I was like always cutting class, blah, 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 the whole entire nine. So I forgot what class he taught, maybe math or some shit like that. I'm not sure. Anyway, I failed this test like I failed every test at that time. But he put me on blast, like in the middle of the whole classroom. Like I think I walked into class late, which, okay, I'll take responsibility for the fact that I clearly was not caring about school. I clearly had a lot of shit going on at home, okay, that was triggering my just like, lack of just not giving a fuck about what was going on. But I still don't believe that what he did was okay, right? Mm-hmm. Although that I had a responsibility and that I get it. So I walked in late and he was like, oh, there she is. Now, my sister also went to the same school. She's 5 years older and he knew her as well. And she also wasn't really like the best student. So it's not like I had like this like role model of a sibling. It was like, that's her sister. This is her. Makes sense type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. So I walked in and he shouted me out. And then in the front of the class, he was like, oh, well, I'm surprised you're late considering you failed the last test and got and like in front of the whole class. And I was just like really kind of like caught off guard. But then I think I left and then I just went to a friend's house and got high.
You're like, I'm going to show him. And then you start.
Well, I went to a friend's house and got high, and then I became the self-fulfilling prophecy. I actually, at that point, wasn't competitive. At that point, I turned into what all of my teachers thought that I was, besides maybe a couple of them, which was a delinquent, because I've heard that word thrown at me too, which was a delinquent, someone who's not going to do anything. My parents never said shit like that to me. It was school. It was fucking school. And it dawned on me, and I was like, holy shit, that's why I'm fucking competitive. Because from middle school to high school, I've had teachers tell me that I was a delinquent, that I wasn't going to do anything. Yeah. They fucking shouted out my grades, all that stuff. And I think that I've been stressing now since that really came to me. Again, although I understand that as a clinician, I know that all areas of life impact us, right? Like I get that. But like when I really connected with the school piece, I was like, oh man, I got to people really need to touch on that a lot more, because when a patient comes to me and we start talking about their childhood, I'm not necessarily always focused on like your home environment. Like I'm also focused on like, were you bullied at school? What was going on? Blah, 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 stuff like that, and how I never even connected that for myself is mind boggling to me.
So when did you flip it though?
Oh, so I flipped it, but I didn't realize I flipped it. It just came to me. So like when I was in college, and I met my first boyfriend.
Right, and he was like super.
And he was super smart. He was super smart, and he didn't have to do anything. He just like got high all day, but still got like straight A's. And I was like, motherfucker, how does he do that? And we moved to Miami together. Lived in Miami. I signed up for community college out there at Dade Community College, and felt like I wanted to apply myself because he was like so fucking smart. And so then I did. And when I went to class, I remember getting my first A I ever had in my whole life. And I was like, oh my God,
you can do this.
I really was. I'm kind of getting emotional because honestly, like it was like when I really kind of connect to it, like I'm like, wow, that was a big part of my life that I don't think I really ever like touched on, but it really was like, so then I was like, oh my God, if I can get an A, then like I can do this. Like I'm actually not dumb, So then I would study and then I would fucking get A's and then I would study and get A's and then went from like a 1.0 GPA. I'm not even exaggerating. I wish I was, to, I think in community college, I had like a 2.5, right? Then I went to get my bachelor's. And at that point, now I was like, oh, I'm doing the fucking thing because clearly I'm not dumb. Like, I'm actually really fucking smart and I can crush this.
So you're saying your teachers made you feel dumb? I don't
want to say that they made me feel dumb, but I think that they were definitely contributing factors.
They weren't like
into my self-esteem regarding like how I felt about myself intellectually, and how I felt about myself regarding my ability to actually be successful in life.
Yeah.
And I think that they were a contributing factor to creating this competitive part of me that I have.
They weren't helping your self-esteem.
No. So
Okay.
we all have parts of us, right? Which goes back to like internal family systems. And in internal family systems, that concept or that theory talks about how we all have different parts of us, and these parts are all labeled different things, right? So there's like exiles, which are like the younger parts of us that are like probably sad or abandoned or whatever it is. They're like buried deep down, right? Because we don't want to feel them. And then there's like the manager parts. Those are the people, those are the parts of us that basically run the show. They do everything possible to prevent self from accessing the exiles because they don't want self to feel hurt. So they come out through either competitiveness, anxiety, overthinking, overworking, ego stuff, like whatever it is, they come out, and so they run the system. Then we have firefighters, and firefighters come out when the managers don't get the job done. So these people basically like will fucking burn the whole house down. So that's when your more self-destructive parts come out. Self-destructive, anything that you do that is most likely harmful to you in some way, shape, or form. Drugs, alcohol, eating disorder stuff, gambling addiction, like sex, like whatever it is, they're going to make sure that you do that self does not think about the exiles. So yeah. So anyway, so I've been really kind of like thinking about that more and focusing on how critical it is really, to kind of also tap into like when you're doing your own work, let's say you're at home and you want to just like self-reflect, to not just think about your family. Because I have so many patients who I work with who are like, my family was like fine. Like I never, and not to say that, yes, I think that they were fine. There were still unhealthy aspects there because no one's 100% healthy, right? But they never really thought about work, school, like
Really,
any
the places
other
you
environment.
are, like sometimes like people are at work and at school more than they are with their families.
Right.
As they get older.
Right.
And so you're hanging out with
absolutely.
these small pockets of groups of people that are actually shaping your
You're
mentality.
kids are at school from what, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.? That's the whole fucking day.
That's why it's so
Then they
important
get out of
to have-
school. They either have a sport, activity, I don't know. Then they have to do homework. Then they eat dinner. Then they go to bed. Done. So
Parents usually spend maybe literally an hour or two in the
Few
morning,
hours,
a couple
few
hours
hours. I
at
mean,
night,
like-
and then they're in bed,
Right, so anyway, yeah, so that's when the competitive part came, and that's when that kind of really, and then I ran with it because I realized that, okay, I have this competitive part and it can come out in ways where I'm like really competitive over like, I don't know, like games, like and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I was able to kind of like restructure it and just be like, well, then this is kind of like benefiting me at the same time. So let me roll with it. So I've kind of managed to take that part and be able to use it as like a superpower. And that's kind of when I get into how can we take some of these character defects. They talk about character defects in like AANA. I used to be in that field, so that term was used a lot, and I don't like that term. But how can we take some of these traits, let's say that we have that maybe have been serving us in negative ways? How can we flip them to basically help us in positive ways? Right? That artist, that Asian artist, I forgot her name. It's not Yakimoto, her last name. I'm not sure if she's from Japan or where she's from, but she has schizophrenia and she lives actually in a mental institute. And she's able to leave the institute and come back and leave and come back. And she's had pop-ups, art gallery pop-ups all throughout New York City. She is highly famous. And she basically she takes her hallucinations and turned them into art. Okay, like, come on, so it can be done. So that's what I did, and
Interesting.
here we are.
It's interesting that like you flipped it and utilize your that whatever it was, like it was like a negative or your competitive spirit, right? And then you flipped it into a positive, right? And I also did not do good in school until I went to college. And there was something my thing was different. It wasn't a competitive thing, but it was just more like, okay, I'm going to go to school for exactly what I want to do, and I'm going to pay for it. So I better do what I got to do.
Okay.
But it was my own, like, But
No, but
prior
that
to
makes
that,
sense though, because that was your own money, right?
yeah.
See, I didn't pay for my
Yeah,
school.
you still didn't have that.
So I didn't
driving
have
force.
that right. Like nothing else was driving.
The only thing was this
besides
competitiveness.
being competitive and proving people wrong. You know, like
I'm trying to think of where my competitiveness, because I had that serious competitiveness like yours. That's why I recognize it in you. But I'm trying to figure out where that actually spun off into actually now.
right. It's getting you thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was like,
You know what I think also, if I go into like your family though, like your family, and I think again it's just New England culture, like you guys like bust each other's balls a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot. And I feel like sometimes maybe the ball busting could have hit below the belt a little bit.
Yeah.
But nobody will admit it because that's just a part of the culture in Rhode Island, is to just bust balls.
Honestly, that's kind of how I felt this weekend. A little bit.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe
But I've dealt with that before, so I just kind of like kept going with the flow and doing
right, because you asked me, you were like, was he saying it? And I was like, no, don't personalize it. Like, why are you personalizing it?
But like everybody else, like it was just me. So I
Yeah.
I knew it was just me. So I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna like watch this fight or whatever. And
Yeah.
not worry about it. But
yeah, most likely from that. Yeah.
But the competitiveness, yeah, and I'm not sure where. I think it spun off into like, I don't know how. Maybe you can explain this, but because I used to have like all kinds of girlfriends. I'd have one girlfriend, and I'd have like two girlfriends on the side, and that takes a lot of energy, right? And I don't know if that was like some sport sort of thing between me and my friends. And then, you know, as I got older, I was like, all right, this is like, I need to refocus this energy. Or do you think that that's something else?
No, well, as you were talking, what popped up into my head also is that, so I think for you, a lot of your competitiveness does actually come from family versus really like anything else. Just because I think between the ball busting that your family does with each other and always has done, I also think that for you grew up in a household. So you had mom, right? Mom was a hard worker, you know, definitely, right? Then you had dad. Dad also owned a bar, right?
He was a hard worker, yeah.
Right, he was a hard worker, you know? But then I think as you got older, you kind of maybe slowly started to see some changes in
the dynamic,
and just in
family.
Your parents, right? Your dad kind of declined, you know?
Yeah, well, his company, the business that he was working for, they shut down, so he had to find another job.
So that things started to kind of go down a little bit there, you know? And then also I think just with his cognitive and function, you know, there's lots of stuff there, you know? Then I think with your mom, just kind of seeing how she just kind of went from like doing so much to then kind of like not really doing anything and being taken care of. I don't know. I think that some of that I think that you got the competitiveness or the hardworking stuff from your parents and then took that and ran with it because you don't want to be in a situation where you decline or anything like that. You're
right. There's like a bottom that is not at the actual bottom. Yeah. That I will not go below type of thing. Yeah.
Right. You know,
so I guess there's that,
and then to see how your parents, like how their lives flipped, I think that for you was like, I don't want my life to flip that way, you know? So that could be, I think yours is more family.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
We had no idea we were going to dive deep into this.
Well, I did want to bring up something totally different outside of this.
Okay, so we're switching gears.
Yeah, we're going to switch gears. Unless you want to keep going down this.
I feel like we're going to switch gears, but we're going to lose people.
We're going to lose people? Well, we could, but we got to, this is this is not our long form day today. We're going a little short because we're actually doing couples yoga, not couples yoga, but we're going together to yoga today for the first time in like a long time because we got Wayla here.
Wayla's back, guys.
Wayla's back.
Until Christmas.
Sort of flexible now to do stuff. So yeah, we're excited about that. So anyways, yeah, we don't have much time anyways, but no, I just wanted to bring this up because you guys know I'm like, all right, not hype on RFK Jr., but about the ideas that he has and the things that he's trying to do.
You're hyped about health.
I'm hyped about health. I've
You're
always
hyped
been like
about
that.
health.
I didn't even
Get-
know who
take
RFK
away-
Jr. was
yeah.
like 2 years
Take
ago.
away the names that are going to now be attached to the issue or the topic because of everything.
Yeah.
Fuck those names.
I was thinking about it way before those names.
Like, absolutely.
Yeah. So the particular thing that I'm talking about today is 5G, and how it's over the years come to this level of like almost conspiracy theory of like it's how it's affecting our bodies and potentially causing types of cancers and stuff like that. You see the 5G towers going up everywhere now. If you've ever seen like this one like tower, and it's got a bunch of little like satellite type of things on it. It's maybe, I don't even know, like a freaking, I don't know how tall those things. It's like almost like a 4-story building, so you can't really miss them. But there's one in particular that's like right next to this playground that Aaliyah likes to take our kid to, and I'm always telling her don't go near the 5G tower. So then sometimes the only way I can get Aaliyah to listen to some of this stuff is when I have her sitting here. So so I'd like to play a clip from RFK Jr., who has actually sued companies over this and won. Okay? So it's not a conspiracy. It's actually happening. It's actually causing problems in the human body, and we need to do something about it. So with that being said, let's play this quick little clip with RFK Jr. in it.
About health, right?
About 5G towers.
5G towers.
So I just wanted to show people this because he's a lawyer literally suing these like cellular companies and winning because he's proving that the 5G is causing harm to the human body. So I mean, and I can play, I'm going to keep pulling up RFK videos of different health things over the course of the next year. And just, he elaborates on these topics so well. He's so eloquent on how he speaks about it that it's my best way of communicating this information to the world is just playing his video.
So you know what it is? Because I'm the person who, you tell me these things, right?
And you're like, whatever.
And I'm like, I'm still going to the playground because the playground's a great playground and she loves the playground and I don't really know much about 5G and blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. And also I'm a product of society, and society has, I'm sure, sent, messages to me for God knows how long. And now I'm slowly trying to break myself out of it, but I still have so many messages that are there. Okay. As we all do. So I hear you. And I heard him.
And you still want to go to the fucking 5G playground, even though there's like 30,000 other playgrounds.
It's not that it's my first choice. It's not like I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to that playground, because I do try and avoid it, like if need be, because you told me this. But I'm like, if we only have, let's say, an hour and a half, and she wants to go to the playground, and we can't go to the playground down the street, and the closest playground is the fucking 5G playground where the church is, I'm like, all right, let's just go there for just like 30 minutes, like, because it's convenient. You know what I'm saying?
I was just about to
And
say
so,
this.
and
Yeah.
so, and so this is like, not to, but like this is connected. So my friend, Chucky, who lives in England, right?
Mm.
So she comes out here, she goes to Florida to visit her dad, and they order food. She goes and she's sitting in her car and she's like, girl, they just like, I just order it. I just like drive the car to the restaurant and they just like bring me my food to the car. And I was like, I know. And she's like, that's the shit I'm talking about in Europe. They don't do anything like that in Europe. Like, it's not convenient, Like, I miss the convenience of the United States. That's what she said.
Mhm.
And so that's what I think it is that like we're so embedded, right? That convenience, because they've made a lot of things convenient for us.
Well, that's
But-
how they get you
But all
locked
the
in.
things that are right, that's what I'm saying. But these are the messages that have been literally planted in my mind since I was God knows how long. And to be able to break a belief system and a message, right, that's been embedded in your brain for God knows how long, is not a fucking 6-month thing, is not a year thing sometimes. Like, that's like a constant thing. Think about how long it took for that belief system to get there.
Yeah, I'm always skeptical about convenience. Whenever some new technology or something comes out and everybody's like, oh my god, it's gonna make life so much easier. AI, all this other stuff. Like
I love AI.
I do for certain aspects
Because
of it,
of the
but I'm still very skeptical of it. Like there's lots of aspects of it that I'm skeptical of, but then there's also good ones, which it's always that way. Like cell phones, right? I was skeptical about cell phones at first.
Well, that's why you got this case.
Right. So like it's always this like hybrid situation where you're like, I can't live without it, but I also need it. That's going to be AI. That's your cell phone. But like the 5G, I mean, my 5G never fucking works, by the way. And even if it says full power, I have like the shittiest service. So my whatever the fucking one that's
LTE.
like LTE one, whenever that's full power, man, I get like great service, right? But the 5G has never like raised the bar on like, ooh, this is so great and convenient and faster or whatever, so I can do without that shit. Like if it made my phone like a fucking super rocket and I'm like, boom, 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 it's like spitting out information that before I even like type it in, then I'd be like, well, maybe there's some benefit to that. But it doesn't. It barely raises the bar, but it's like poisoning us as we like hang out next to these things and they're popping up all over the place, right? So that one, it's not very convenient for me. And speaking of the convenience thing, you're right. It's about, everybody does that. A lot of people in America are like used to the convenience
We're all
thing.
about convenience, yeah.
But I mean, if it's like, how serious does it have to be for you to be like, okay, it's a little inconvenient to go
but
this
again,
way,
I think I made my point. My point has nothing to do with how serious it has to be.
it can
My
be
point
like,
has to do with my point has to do with messages that have been embedded in your brain for a very long time.
yeah, but if there was
And because I understand how the brain works when it comes to that, because I understand how once those thought processes and those belief systems are in your synapses, and I understand how long it takes for that to restructure, since I work with people to help them restructure their thought process due to belief systems that they have got from their parents or schools or whatever for so long, I understand how long that takes. So it's not about the severity. I hear you with the severity. I'm coming at you from realistically, though, how the brain works when something's been embedded and installed as a belief system. It's not easy to just change that. So again, I hear you, which is why going to that playground is not my first choice, which is why when I do go, I go if we don't have a lot of time and it's like, okay, a 30-minute thing and I try not to be there that long. But again, me 5 years ago, I would have just been at the playground all the time for God knows how long. Me even just 3 years ago, right? So it's like, this is like a lot of these things that you're talking about right now have a longer time. Like, it's not like you could show me, I used to smoke cigarettes. Well, that was an addiction, right? But addiction also, right? I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes and worked for, this is so bad. I smoked cigarettes and worked for the Lung Association in Florida. Okay. I was the person that had to literally drive the lung mobile that literally had dead lungs from smoking all plastered all around it.
And you didn't give
then
a
I
fuck.
had to go to high schools and middle schools and do a whole PowerPoint presentation that I created about how fucking awful smoking was and was smoking. Now that's addiction, right? But still, you know, like,
Because you thought about it, and every time you smoked, you were just like, you knew exactly what it was doing.
fuck yeah, I was just like,
But it was like, because
motherfucker,
it's
but,
so
like,
good, because there's the addiction thing in you. I mean, listen, I understand that too. But what is this like 21 day thing, 21 consistent days of anything? You can change your perspective or change a habit or whatever.
That's a
21
habit.
days.
That's like behavior. That's like doing, right?
Well,
So-
that's the same
so-
thing.
so-
This is at that level.
so
This
if I
isn't
go
like,
to-
oh my God,
No, yeah,
this like
but like,
long.
let's
Oh,
say
I've been
if I
embedded
go
by this.
to, and I don't really necessarily think it's 21 days to be quite honest, because I've seen, well, one, I've done it myself just with the consistency of like cash, right, and the consistency of the oming and stuff.
That's been
right?
going. That went so fast.
That started back in June.
You also have a tough time with your like time ranges too.
No,
Like,
but everything started in June. That I know. That was like that was the point of everything for me. June.
that's
So
when we
why
got
I'm
him.
like- that's when we got him, and
Right.
that's also when I saw Kerry, and that's also when everything went down in my life.
Right.
So
but
for me-
shifted way before right now. Like shifted months ago.
No, stuff was shifting before June, yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of my like consistency habit,
Started in June. Okay.
that started in June.
But before the end of summer. I mean, way before. Because you were going on these walks and doing all this stuff. So it only took literally like a month,
No,
2 months to
I was
really
going.
get into the zone.
I was going on the walks, yes,
Hmm.
because I wanted to push myself for the consistency. But at the point that the walks now have become something that I actually love to do,
Maybe it's 90 days.
Right? Yeah, I think right. Which is now just
Which
like
would
a
line
part
up.
of my life. You know,
So
like,
that was like 3 months, so 90 days. But it's like you don't go to the playground every single day. So like, you know, it's like sporadic. So like, it's just a thought. That's really what it is. Whenever I have this thought of like something that's like, I know that I shouldn't do, but it's like super convenient in the moment. That's the exact moment where I say, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
And I do the hard thing,
Okay.
such as a cold shower every single fucking night.
Yep.
If I even think about not doing it, that's the exact moment I turn the cold water on, because I'm like, fuck you, bitch. It's time.
And you know
Because
what?
You're trying to get out of this.
I am so glad that you have the ability to do that.
Well, you have the ability to say,
I'm not saying that I don't
okay,
have the
this
ability,
playground,
but-
I
but
drive
I'm not-
2 minutes to the other
I'm
playground.
not saying that I don't have the ability, clearly. What I'm saying, though, is that it's not that easy. If it was that easy, to be quite honest, since we're talking about thought process and restructuring
Nobody's
thoughts,
saying
I
it's
would
easy.
not have a fucking job. I wouldn't have a career. I wouldn't be working with people every day to help them change
Yeah, but
the
listen,
fact that they
you-
thought that they were a piece of shit
you're
to,
talking-
oh my God, I'm amazing.
you're talking about all these like serious things. Though.
No, they're
I'm
not.
talking
This is
about.
serious. What are you talking about? This is serious for you.
No,
the
no,
fact
no.
that
I'm
what are you
talking
about?
I'm talking about like you're acting as if this like is some crazy habit and to overcome
I'm not acting as though it's a crazy
strong
habit. All I'm
will of
trying to
having to go to
do-
that playground.
Okay, get the playground out of your mind. I'm not talking about the playground, man.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about
focused
playground.
on this is not about a playground. It's about someone's thought process. It's about how they've been living a life for so long, being injected with beliefs for so long. Fuck the playground. This could apply to anything.
Well, maybe that's just that's the shift, right? So it's like whatever you deem to be significant and very important, or through research or through me showing you that, like, I mean, right in this moment right now, after hearing that, there's no way that you can be like, I still don't really care. Like, there's something in you that's like, okay, that seems pretty
The
significant,
only
right?
reason why there's something in me that feels like that is because my brain has already been training to restructure since the day that I met you when it comes to this shit.
Mm.
That's now been 6 years, okay? So in 6 years, now I can see that and go, damn, that fucking sucks. And like, I don't want cancer. I don't want my kid to have cancer. So clearly I'm gonna like not go as much as I possibly can, and I'm gonna reduce the limits. But it's like, if it's like a fucking situation where my kid's just like, I want to go to the fuck, like I don't know what I'll do, you know, like maybe I won't go. I have no idea. But like, I've been working on my thought process for 6 years with this.
Okay.
People don't let the phone fucking can give them cancer, and they're on it all the goddamn time. What about you? Get rid of your fucking cell phone then.
Hey.
Right. Get rid of your cell phone then.
Well, this is why I have a special radiation protection case.
Okay. Right.
Right.
Wonderful.
Closes.
Yeah,
radiation.
Sure. What about all the years you didn't have a radiation case?
Well, I also, prior to this case, I would see how the phone's on the table right now. Like, a lot of people would just keep it in their pocket or whatever. Anytime I have a moment to get rid of it out of my general space, I do it.
Funny enough, though, because you're on the phone all the time. Like,
well, this is the catch-22, the inconvenience of it. Yeah.
Until the time that you go to sleep.
I would love to just get rid of it.
You're on the phone, Mr. fucking frequency, and not wanting to enter. So, you know, and,
all right, then
and again, how convenient is the phone for you? You need the phone, right? Now, I don't need that playground. You're right.
That's what I'm saying.
Lots of other playgrounds. But sometimes,
that's what I'm getting at.
But sometimes it's convenient. You don't need this at night. You could actually tell yourself, you know what? I'm shutting down at 7 o'clock.
I don't know if you noticed this, but last night I did that. The whole time we were out in the living room watching UFC or whatever, I left the phone in the bedroom. It was a couple hours. So I did do that.
That's like a new thing.
Maybe it is.
Okay.
Gotcha. You're just trying to spin it around on me. This is where I already went through the rant of like, this is like this catch-22. I don't really want it. I wish we lived on a fucking island and didn't need to like talk to people and whatever. I would get rid of my phone in an instant. But it's like, all right, we got to make money, so I got to talk to people about making money and whatever the fuck it is. But going to a playground, there's literally at least 3 other playgrounds within like a couple minutes of that playground, which you could just instantly make a different decision. I do it all the time, but I guess it's really easy for me. Anyway, so basically you're saying that whatever important, say this instance at the 5G tower, it would literally have to be raining acid in that area, and you'd have to be like, oh, I'm never going back there again. But because it's not actually physically, you can't see it over like, you know, an immediate moment, then it, and listening to somebody that has sued companies and proven that this is in existence, you're like, well, I'll take my chances. And I mean,
look at the world, though. People have known for a very long time that alcohol can absolutely fuck you up, like in medical ways. But yet they still choose to drink without even, right? Listen,
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you.
But I'm talking about like the world. I'm just trying to generalize this to just like why it is that people may not see something like that and instantly be like, oh, that's it, and change my whole life. Like I'm trying to also just be realistic. No,
you're right.
Here.
It's a process.
I don't know why you're making it so like I'm trying to be realistic.
Oh, man, I think I'm really just there's so many things, and a lot of things in particular with like what RFK Jr. is like talking about and is going to do as the health secretary. That I'm like, oh my God, finally. I've been talking about this for literally like 15, 20 fucking years. And I've been this crazy person, but this lawyer is going to get in there and he's going to do all this shit. And I'm like, okay, let's spread this information, because it never gets spread because the pharmaceutical companies own the media through advertisement. And, you know, now we have a chance to really spread this information. So we have a podcast. I thought it was important for us to talk about this, and there you go.
Yeah. No, and honestly, I'm excited.
So we're doing our part.
I'm excited to see the changes that he's going to have, because to be honest, I think that we should be living food-wise, especially how they live in Europe. So I'm all for it. And again, I think it's going to be something that will happen that people won't even really necessarily even realize, because how many people really read the back of every single food product? So it'll be a discrete type of change,
Mhm.
lo and behold, actually it'll be better for you and healthier for you. So I'm psyched about it. Absolutely. I'm psyched about learning
Yeah.
more. I'm psyched about all of that. I'm psyched about, school lunches change, just everything changing.
Another thing I'd just like to throw in there,
Mhm.
and I know we said we were gonna like chill out on politics, and
Yes,
this isn't
we
really,
did,
but
just
we watched
earlier.
UFC last night, and I really wanted to it was like
What does UFC have to do with
well,
Trump?
John Jones ended up winning, right? And then what I want to talk about is he started a chant of USA, and the whole place went crazy chanting USA, and I thought that was like
What does that have to do with Trump?
because I think that you think if like Biden was sitting there or any other person, Kamala, do you think that they would have been inspired, the whole stadium of 20,000 people,
Yeah, I do.
to chant USA?
Yes, because
I think
I've
that
heard people do that before in a stadium without Trump being president. People have done that for years in stadiums.
I'm just saying, what I'm saying is I feel as though the country is like moving in a more patriotic and uniting fashion, which is exactly the opposite of what the media has been saying was going to happen. But I feel like everybody is like so excited
So listen,
to be an American right now.
again, I wouldn't say everybody. I think that's
Well,
clearly there are a lot of people that aren't, but I don't see that as much as a connection. Full blown that if I see something in my mind to be valid or to my mind to be like, then I'll say it. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a fucking schizophrenic man. I don't care who you are. I will fucking say it. But in this situation, like, I hear you, I do. I just don't think it has anything to do with Trump. I think that I have watched sports events before, long time ago, when Trump wasn't even in the political, and I've heard stadiums cheer USA when the USA was participating in some kind of a sports event. So I hear you, but I feel like that's always been there. I feel like
okay. Listen, I'm always way ahead of the game. I have this sense of like a unity coming together as we move forward, whether it's because of Trump or not. I don't care. I just feel like this country is actually uniting no matter what anybody is saying. Nobody wants wars. Nobody wants to poison their kids. Nobody wants radiating 5G towers.
And
really,
again, I think that
right?
that's, I hear you. And
If they understand it, they don't want it.
I'm just playing listen, I play devil's advocate, guys. That's what I do in my therapy sessions. That's what I do in my life. I play devil's advocate. I don't have a fucking side. Let me be clear. But to play devil's advocate, I hear you. But everything that you were just focusing on is not necessarily things that other people are focusing on in terms of what they feel needs to be happening for everyone to be together as an American citizen.
Right. Once again, I said I'm always ahead of the game. So I feel this sense, and we will find out once again. And I say this almost every podcast, in a year, in 2 years from now, for whatever reason, I always end up saying that. But, I guess we'll just see. I just like to put it out there. And I think it's a positive thing. And I don't even think there needs to be any kind of like combativeness or like, oh, just to let you know, some people suck. I get that, and whatever, suck, don't suck, or think a different way or whatever. But like, as an American, I'm like, if you're not excited about everybody being more patriotic, then you kind of suck.
But how can people be patriotic in the United States if there are some populations of people who feel that they are not being treated equally?
Equally?
Mm-hmm.
Treated equally. Well, is it a feeling or is it actuality?
I mean, again, I don't know much about what's going on in the LGBTQ population in terms of, what Trump's going to do on a political level. I have no idea. But I know that one of the things that he did say he was going to do for the trans community was to ban and make it illegal or whatever for minors to have any kind of hormone therapy or surgery or anything such as that. You have to understand, there are many people in this world, a part of that population, who don't feel that that is being treated equally, who feel opposite of that. I'm trying to get into the minds and empathize with all people here on all different sides. So from their perspective, no, they may not feel so patriotic. How could they feel patriotic when they feel like they're being dismissed, or that they have certain regulations and rules, but someone who's not trans doesn't?
Okay. So let's take, for instance,
This is a great conversation.
Yeah, we got to get going in a
But
minute.
we also have to get going in a minute.
Like 5 more minutes. So I also feel as though my one thing, right? My thing, because everybody, that trans community, that might be their one thing, or maybe they have a few things, right?
Well, there's a lot of
But
things.
like my one thing is that our debt is still going up. Trump probably still has plans to borrow more money and raise the debt, right? So I'm like, fuck, that's fucking us over, right? But as a overall, when I see all these people like a Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. and Vivek and Elon Musk all coming together to do their thing towards a higher goal of bringing America back together, uniting people, and actually doing the work that needs to be done, like getting rid of all these different agencies that are just destroying our taxpayer money. My whole point is I have one thing, but I'm not fuck that shit. I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right?
No, what do you mean you have one?
My one thing is I don't like it that Trump is probably going to increase the debt limit. That's my personal one thing. And to me, that's actually extremely important because it's really fucking us over financially as a country and in my own personal pocket and whatever, right? But I see all the other things and I'm like, okay.
Oh, so okay, I hear what you're saying. You're just kind of right, you have okay.
To me, that's a huge thing, actually.
For you.
For me.
But for other
people, it's maybe something else is a huge thing.
Exactly.
But then, yeah, I'm just saying, let's take a step back and look at all the other things that are happening, and maybe through all those other things, you may get your thing. Your thing may actually come out of it somehow. We're getting rid of all these agencies through the Doge frickin' department or whatever now with Vivek and Elon Musk. So that is going to lower our cost of living as a country. So we don't have to, we're still going to pay the taxes, but those taxes will go to more efficient things that are actually useful to the population as opposed to wasted money going to nothing, right? So in that aspect, I'm like, okay, and that point, then some of that money could go to paying off the debt and blah, 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 blah. So this is how my mind works with what I feel is important, right?
Again,
but in somebody else's mind, okay, if it's the transgenders and not being able to now the minor
equally.
Now we're talking about minors though. Minors, I mean, I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't think any kid should go through.
You think.
But hold on.
That's not
why can't a kid get a tattoo until they're 18? That's illegal. Did you know that?
Yes, I know that listen, I'm not trying to debate you on this, man.
But my whole point is it's because their brain isn't fully developed, right?
I hear what you're saying, but I also feel like circumstances could change maybe certain thought processes. For example, if I was a trans person and you were, let's say, I don't know, gay, right? And we had a kid together, I feel like maybe the way that we thought it could be a little different because we're experiencing it from a way different perspective. This is why empathy is so important.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I don't have a side. This is why I don't like getting in the middle of things, because I see it from all angles. I see the positives, but I also see the negatives, And so I think that it's just important to be as empathetic as we can be and to be able to kind of really understand where somebody else is coming from so that then we can actually, it makes sense. Once I do that, then it makes sense to me. And I'm like, okay, right. I that's not my life. you know?
Yeah.
But I know that I have family who are gay, you know, and have kids, you know, and all that. Like, I don't know how that could affect that. I have no idea, right? So it's like, I'm just coming from a different angle. I hear you. I'm not disagreeing with you on things. I'm just saying that I think we have to be also mindful of the fact that like there's so many different ways of looking at this.
True. I'm agreeing. I mean, free will at the end of the day is the best way, whether we agree with another person's free will of how they choose to live their lives or not. Allowing that is what I think what created America in the first place, really. You know, like even if you look at Rhode Island and Roger Williams, he actually separated from or he got ousted out of Massachusetts, and he created Rhode Island because he wanted a separation of church and state, right? So there's one little aspect, but they said, okay, you have your own state now, and you could do whatever you want there, right? But yeah, I think as long as we leave doors open and outlets for people to do whatever they want, if they want to do things to their body, get breast implants or chop off their penis or whatever it is, like, I am in agreement that an adult, if they want to go down that path, should have an outlet to do that for sure.
One last thing, and then we do actually really have to
Yes,
go.
we do.
The last thing I want to say on that is, you know, and again, I get where people are coming from with the perspective of minors, you know.
The minor thing is what I'm like.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but I do understand where people are coming from with that, right? That makes sense to me. Okay, I get it. But I'm also the person, right, that not every adolescent makes it to, by the way. But I'm the person who works with some adolescents who are trans, who have a severe amount of depression, severe amount of suicidal thoughts. The fact, like, and I think now, especially now that I have a kid, it really does. Like, it's always made me tear up. But like now that I have a kid, because I don't know what her life's going to look like, you know, that to me is just more precious, you know, in terms of, so, you know, like, I understand that the, I guess, answer to that from what people would say is, okay, we'll go to therapy. Okay, so go to therapy. Well, number one, not everybody can go to therapy. Not everybody has insurance. Not everybody can pay for therapy first and foremost, okay? So what about those people? Is the government or the world or whatever going to set something up for those people? Because those kids aren't going to have any outlet or anyone to help them or any therapist, you know? So my concern with that too, like, and again, I get it from both sides. I think there's positives and negatives to both sides, like I say, but my concern is then what happens to the individuals that, 1, can't go to therapy, 2, can't afford psychedelic assisted therapy, 3, can't afford EMDR, trauma stuff, 4, can't, you know, like, those kids, it's real, man. It's real. They want to, many of them want to die. And so now it's like, so that's kind of, I mean, there's so many angles to this.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I think RFK Jr. has thought about some of this stuff since he's going to be in charge of like health. And I think they are trying to like allocate money towards something along those lines.
I hope,
you know what I'm saying? Which is nice. Like, as a taxpayer, I would be more than welcome to put some money, as long as I know that is actually going to that shit.
Take my money.
You know what I'm saying?
Put it towards that. I want to see everybody get
at least
the services that they
have
need.
An outlet. Allow that to be open, but we don't have to like, you know, advertise or whatever. Just like allow anybody to be how they want to be. And if there's a means to it, if it's a financial thing that costs money, or if it's like pro bono stuff that some people do or whatever, like, yeah, let's do that. But it doesn't have to be a federal thing, like a top down thing. It's like, allow it, and it'll work itself out at a local individual level, I think. But
right, my thing is why it's a federal. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, okay, we got to go. Sorry.
Good chat. Hope everyone enjoyed today. We got to get to yoga, and just cleanse. Hope you guys are having a great Sunday, and we will be here next Sunday.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay.
Still live. I'm walking out of here.
Yeah.